Appeals meeting, Thursday, June 2nd. Have a motion to open the hearing?
Motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The first item on the agenda is a continuation of 350 Rentham Street, which I see has been an update that we've received a letter from the applicant. I can just read it. It just says, "Dear Chairman, Wright, and board members, on behalf of the owner, Leo Dalbay, we respectfully request the variance request for 350 Rentham Road be withdrawn without prejudice. Taking advance for consideration of this matter, sincerely, Richard Grudo." Okay. So I guess, does anyone want to make a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so what will happen now is, since you voted to allow for the withdrawal without prejudice, we will prepare a letter and just put it in the file that the application was withdrawn without prejudice, and that will go to the town clerk.
Okay, great.
Does anybody here for that need an explanation?
Oh, good question. Is anyone in the audience here for 350 Rentham Street? No? Anyone in the, on remotely?
We actually can't even take it because we're not opening it.
Not opening.
It's,
Oh,
we're
that's
done.
right. We're done.
We
Okay.
can't
Well, I
even
just
take
wanted
it.
to explain that withdraw without prejudice means that they're withdrawing the application and they're not, they don't have to do anything, simply withdrawn. We accepted it. And that just avoids them having to go through the 2-year waiting period if they wanted to reapply.
Absolutely.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing for 10 Pearl Street. I feel after consideration from the last time the applicant applied, that I feel comfortable recusing myself on this just to avoid any conflict of interest. And so I'll leave it to Peter to chair over this.
And you need to recuse on Lakeview Estates as well, correct?
Yes.
All right. Can we take Lakeview first? So it's
Absolutely.
a quick update.
Sure.
Angela, you were online there? You ready to go early?
I am.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
What
Hey, John.
what do we have? What's the update we have for these people?
She's just going to give us an update of where we're at right now.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So I talked to the guys on site. They are planting street trees, or they've actually planted the arborvitaes as well. I think they're more for screening than shade. So 85 arborvitaes have been planted, and the street trees are in. The speed bumps were taken out. That was one of the things that a resident had concern about, was when the speed bumps were taken out. Those are gone. The only thing we haven't been able to locate is a different lens for the street light. I know that was an issue for Mr. McNamara, I believe his name was, and another resident, but we're trying to get somebody at National Grid who can point us in the right direction to the proper glass for the street light that would kind of obscure the intensity of the lamp. The mitigation work at South Main and Center Street is sort of underway. National Grid's going to be moving the poles. We've also bonded that work, and I believe the town has the original copy of the surety for that work as well. Let's see, we are prepping for phase 1 street acceptance. We'll be installing the boundary markers, the granite bounds in the corners of each of the lots. Let's see, we are meeting with Don DiMartino. I'm sorry, I forget when they told me they were meeting with Don, either tomorrow or sometime next week, on the phase 2 sidewalks, or the sidewalks on Lover's Lane, and the road widening that's going to be taking place. And we'll be able to final pave, we believe, this fall, phase 2. Sales wise, we have 2 market rate units that are left to close. There's been 1 affordable closing so far, and we have 4 affordable units under agreement. That lottery for the affordable units took place back in November. We just we haven't been getting any buyers, but the affordable units are just about done. So they're ready when the buyers are. So I think that's about it.
All right, I think the only thing I really had out seeing was the lights. Anything else?
I'm just curious, is there any advertising going up for those affordable units?
Oh yeah, well, we have to use this like a third party, it's MCO housing. They are the broker for the affordable units. Our brokers have been advertising as well, trying to spread the word, but MCO gets the commission. So they have the lottery package or the information package on their website, and they do the marketing for the affordable units.
Thank you.
I'm just curious if Jim has any updates or.
Mr. Coppola.
Hey guys, nothing additional really to report. I will agree with Angela that they have been working with National Grid to try and get that rectified, and we are working with National Grid on the other lampposts that haven't been installed as well. I know they've been working with conservation on a number of measures. At this time, I think we're in pretty good shape, and hopefully we can wrap this project up pretty soon.
So I think we should just continue this for 6 months and then come back and.
6 months, we want to do 3 months. I mean, this would have been like into the fall.
Yeah.
Having once in the fall before they shut down.
I do have one more question for Andrew, asking if there's been any complaints or anything of that sort from any of the neighbors there.
Actually, Angela's been great. We've had a few butters just with little things, but Angela's taken care of it and has, pretty much addressed any concerns of the butters right away.
No pending issues.
Not on my end with the calls. They've gotten back to the residents right away.
Oh, and I did, thank you for saying that, Amy. And I did check in with Alex today to see if he's been getting any complaints about dust in the area, and he said he hasn't heard anything. We haven't heard anything from residents or DEP or for that matter. So I think that's under control for now.
Great. Is there a need for any more hydro seeding or anything of that sort?
I'm not sure if there are any lots that are left to be landscaped. I assume so. There are still some lots that are under construction.
Any open areas that need attention is whatever.
Right. I think the majority of the lots are stabilized with hydroseed and have full lawns. So the amount of unstabilized lots or lots that could create dust are manageable.
Thank you.
Make a motion for the next 6 months. That'd be November.
Yeah, I don't know if
I'm fine.
the public has anything to say. There's a bunch of people that logged in, or Brian, if you have a name, Twitter, whatever you want to do.
Does anyone in the public have any comments or concerns?
I guess I would just, Brian Wright, 99 Silver Lake Road. I'm just curious about everything. Everything seems like it's been good. I'm just curious about, and maybe Amy or Jen can answer, but the whole area uphill from Silver Lake, it seems like has there been any other issues? Has it all pretty much grown in?
I haven't checked that directly.
The grass looks I mean, it's held, but yeah.
Angela, have you been up there to see that area? I have not been.
I'm not sure what area you're talking about above the basin.
Yes, yeah, just the whole area above the basin.
I'm not sure. I know we don't own that property anymore, so.
Angela, if you can hold on one moment. Pam, I think we're getting Zoom bombed. If you could please
Keeps changing people too.
eliminate, I would say Ash and Bill until we know further who those residents are. It does look like we're being Zoom bombed. Sorry.
Not a problem. I'm taking care of that as well.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Sorry, Angela.
That's okay.
we can't control that from here.
No,
correct?
we can't control it from here.
Okay,
Jim and Pam have it under control.
all right, great.
Okay.
Go ahead, Angela, were you saying something, Angela?
You were asking for the public, actually.
I was, yeah, I was.
Sorry, my dog was barking. The area above Basin C, we don't own anymore. I can certainly have, somebody check on that area, and we are in communication with the company who bought that. It's in connection with the Bellingham Shores development. So I can always reach out to the company who owns the Bellingham Shores development now, and if it's not growing in well.
All right, thank
You know
you.
what would be great, Angela, is what you did a couple weeks ago. You had sent a picture of a few things, and that's really helpful because we can
Okay.
put that in the file. If anybody, calls, we have that picture we can send over. So if you don't mind maybe doing that, that would be helpful.
Will do.
Thanks.
All right, does anyone in the public have any comments or questions? See Janet raised her hand.
Nothing on this end.
Okay,
Oh, that's a cursor.
that's a cursor. Whatever.
Okay.
I can barely see it from there. Can I get a motion for continuance?
We actually don't, okay.
Don't we need one?
No, we don't need a continuance. You just want to schedule a meeting 6 months from here.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that, and that's November, we'll say our next meeting in November, or do you want, that will be the first Thursday in November?
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
We don't need a formal motion to.
I don't believe we're in the hearing process for this. Jim, do you want to clarify?
No, this is a rather unique one. Yeah, so if the board could continue the matter, so
Okay.
we've been going on so long that I wouldn't be surprised if we all didn't recall, but this is essentially an extension of the permit. It elapsed after 6 years, and so we've been meticulously extending or continuing the request for an extension. So the board could consider an extension of that decision, but I think you're perfectly fine in continuing the matter as long as the applicant is working with you to a date certain, and that's 6 months out to discuss how it was, how the fall season has went and what their plans for the spring. I think is perfectly satisfactory.
Perfect. So that's November 3rd.
Number third?
So do we need
Sounds
a
good.
motion? to
So
continue
motion,
this?
sure.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
All in
Perfect.
favor?
Aye.
Angela, you good with that?
I'm good. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
See you
Angela.
in-
Thanks, Angela. Have a good summer.
After construction season.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so what's up next? 10 Pearl Street. Wow. Motion to waive the reading. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Absolutely. Let me-
Amy,
Hi
what-
there.
What do we have going here?
Well, we had the application, what was it, 2 months ago, and it was withdrawn.
Yep.
And so they reapplied because they withdrew without prejudice. So we have a new application in front of us that they're here to go in.
Where would you like me to stand?
Right there is perfect.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure I'm in the right spot.
That's great.
So, good evening. My name is Ben Dowling. I represent the Domesticos who own 10 Pearl Street. And if you will recall, 2 months ago, we were here seeking 2 variances for a front lot and a back lot. Front lot and back lot plan. Tonight, we withdrew that application and we have resubmitted for a different plan, which is not a front lot and back lot plan. Rather, it's a side-by-side plan. So if you have the plan, you're proposing lot 1 and lot 2 to be split from the larger lot. Lot 1, we're seeking 2 variances from you tonight. We're seeking a frontage variance for lot 1. We're showing 60 feet on Pearl Street. And we're also seeking a lot shape factor variance for lot 1. And what's that? Yeah, and lot 2 would be a totally conforming lot. what I'd like to do is just walk you through how I think you can grant this variance. And to do that, I'm going to follow the bylaw. I'm going to follow the Bellingham zoning bylaw step by step and explain to you how the domesticos qualify. A literal enforcement of your bylaw is going to result in a hardship for the domesticos. The hardship that the domesticos are going to incur is that they own a lot which has 86,000 square feet, which is large enough to accommodate 2 lots by area in the residential zoning district. The minimum lot size in the district is 40,000 square feet. So they have a lot that is big enough to create two lots. However, because of the shape, now we're moving on to step 2 here. The hardship, which is that they cannot split their lot, is due to the shape of their lot. All right, their lot is it's a rectangle, but it is shaped such that they don't have frontage for the 2 lots, and the newly created lot 1 doesn't meet the lot shape factor. Okay, so we could easily redraw this lot to be a different shape and not have to draw the lot into a shape that would not require any variances. So the hardship here is due to the shape of the lot. Now there's a second part to that requirement, okay, which is that that the hardship does not generally affect the land in which the district is situated. And I included a map in the application, and I prepared the same map only with some color for you. Can I hand this out? Do you mind if it's the same map that was sent with the application?
Thank you.
So the second part of the bylaw, it asks you to, or it commands you to consider whether the land or the lot in question, whether the hardship associated with the land is generally affecting the lots in the district. And so the Domesticos property is in a residential district, and that's what I've outlined in green. And this residential district is surrounded by, to the south, by an industrial district, by a suburban district, by a business district, and by, I think that's an agricultural district, and then by the town of Medway on the north. So the district, this is the district that the Domesticos lot is in. And I did a brief analysis of the lots in the district. There are 40-ish, maybe there are 40, a little more than 40, a little less than 40. There are 40-ish lots in the district. Of those lots, by my analysis, there are only 2 that have sufficient area, okay, for 2 lots, meaning they're larger than 80,000 square feet, but don't have sufficient frontage. Okay, and my analysis leads me to conclude that the 2 lots that would meet that criteria are the Domesticos lot, which is lot number 58 on the map. That's the one with the arrow, 10 pearl, and then the lot immediately north of that, which is lot 47-1. The lot north of there, lot 46, 2.9 acres, big enough for two lots. Looks to me like it's not going to have a frontage issue. The lots to the south, 47-1 and 58, the Domesticos lot, they're larger than 1.836 acres. That's your 80,000 square feet, but they don't have frontage. So 2 out of the 40 lots in the district have this issue. Okay, they have a shape such that they don't have, they can't split the lot by right. I think so. According to the bylaw, that we have ticked that box, if you will. Lastly, step number 3, desirable relief may be granted without detriment to the public good or derogating from the purpose of the bylaw. I don't think that this plan is a detriment to the public good. I don't think we could characterize it as a detriment to the public good. The lots would still, the newly created lots would be significantly larger than many of the neighboring lots. I mean, a close reading of the purpose of your bylaw, this plan, this plan is not going to be a derogation of the purpose of your bylaw, which speaks to lessening congestion, conserving health, secure safety from fire, flood, panic, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that we can characterize this plan as a radical plan in any way, shape, or form. But we do need relief from the zoning board on 2 particular points. And that is what we're here for tonight. Do you have any questions?
Basically, we're just going after the same thing, divided up a little differently. If this plan was to go forward, you've got 60 feet of frontage. How's the lot gonna be accessed?
From the access would be by Pearl Street. We would construct a driveway into the building envelope.
I'm gonna open up to you guys for right now. Aye.
I'm just talking, could you go over the hardship, why you feel you qualifies as a hardship?
The hardship is that the lot is 86,000 square feet. The minimum lot size in the residential district is 40,000 square feet. The domesticos can't split that lot by right without a variance from the zoning board. And that's the financial hardship. Okay, that is the financial hardship that we're putting before you. However, the bylaw speaks to, it specifically mentions financial hardship, but it also says otherwise. So we're not limited to the financial hardships under the bylaw. And as we sort of mentioned when we came here previously, the overall plan for the property is, or the hope is to split the lot. Previously, it was from the back lot and front lot option. Now we're side by side. But with the newly created lot, the domestico's son is hoping to build his house in the newly created lot. And this speaks to an additional hardship that we're putting before you for your consideration, which is that the domestico's son would like to live close to his parents. And this presents a perfect opportunity to do that, but without splitting the lot. Locating close to his parents becomes much more difficult.
Anything else?
Nothing here.
Just a quick question. So access to lot 1 would be through lot 1?
Yes,
And access to lot 2 obviously would be just the existing driveway?
yes,
And the existing chain link fence would be removed for the purposes of access?
yes.
I mean, I have a hard time with the hardship. I really do. I feel the hardship's almost self-induced because you want to split a lot. I mean, right now they're living on this property. There's no hardship. It's a tough area to get over, and it's my feeling on the hardship. not sure how anyone else feels on that.
Can I ask,
You
just
go
a
right ahead, sir.
point of order question? Jim, so since Brian has recused himself and Ray isn't here, what's the magic number and like, are we all voting on this?
So, yes, Art, Peter, Brian, and Jason will all vote on this, and it would need to be unanimous in order to pass. As you have 4 members, it needs to be 4 out of 5 to pass.
So you're voting.
And
I know, we had to do
4 is enough for a quorum.
Yeah.
So, which brings up the next question, so it's, I don't know if it would be more to the applicant's advantage to wait until we have a full board, so that we would have 5 members here, and
Then you only need 4.
Right.
Yeah.
if we would like to continue this.
Either way, you gotta get to 4, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but we would have one way or the other, there'd be an extra person that'll be voting.
Thank you for pointing that out. Without actually voting, is there some way to get a straw vote, or if you will?
We haven't even opened it up to the
Oh,
public yet.
you haven't even opened that for that. So
We're discussing them ourselves right now. I'm not sure how you guys feel about the hurdle of how we get to the hardship on it.
You know, the big rectangular lot, I don't necessarily believe that they hit the strict requirements of the hardship, but they're creating nearly rectangular lots. So this may be a case where there might be some discretion with regard to the issuance of a variance. I don't think that it, strictly speaking, hits the marks. The hardship is not a hardship in my opinion, but the harm, whether there's any harm at all.
We also have to consider, I mean, once this is granted, it's not granted for the son to build on that. It's granted for them to sell it to whoever they want, actually. It's a separate lot now.
Right. And
So the hardship of the son wanting to build a home here, there's nothing in the variance that says that. It's now a sellable.
like
lot.
you can't, yeah, it'll become a separate lot, but I think you gotta assess it for now and not what might be in the future. You're right, it does become its own
Hmm.
lot.
If I may, through the chair. Amanda Cavalieri with Garrier and Hellman. You know, we do understand as far as the hardships go, sometimes they might be a little bit difficult to, they are case by case basis. We do ask for the consideration of the board to look closely at this as far as this lot goes. You know, you do have a financial hardship when it comes to the property owners and the son who wants to move in next door. As far as finding available land nowadays in the same town that you want to live in, you have this land available that is generally conforming, with the exception of access to it, with the frontage and the shape factor. The shape factor, again, is, if I'm interpreting bylaws correctly, it's really to avoid the pork chop lots as we had before, the back lots, the oddly shaped lots that, again, coming into the future for resale, say Vincent moves out or his parents leave Bellingham, something like that, that, you know, for a resale, that it's a lot that could potentially go abandoned because it's just not a very viable lot. Nobody wants to live in the back. So we heard what the board said at the last hearing, and we respect that very much so. We are working hard with the domesticos and Mr. Dowling, trying to get something that would work for everybody, and work with the town to be able to make this happen for them. As Vincent's parents age, anybody that has children and has older parents, you know, the children do want to try to live closer to them, in essence, to help them. So financial hardship down the line, you know, in the event that Vincent can't live here, the financial hardships, again, they're future financial hardships, but now if he can't live close by, where do his parents go? Who takes care of his parents? There's additional financial implications that come along with that for the future for those folks. So I think, case by case basis, we do ask you to consider the option. We did go back to the drawing board. We did make one completely conforming lot. This lot does conform based on the area. In the residential neighborhoods, there are houses that are, and lots that are significantly smaller than this. We did try to meet the requirements to the best of the availability of the land and the space that's there to access it. We could have split it so it was a more even split with the frontage and have, I think they have 210 feet of frontage. We could have made each of them about 100 feet of frontage. But again, now you're asking for 3 variances because you have two lots that don't have the frontage, and then you run into potentially meeting shape factors again. Where we're complying with the lot area, shape factor, again, we would absolutely meet that requirement or make it a little bit more tangible and have it about 105 feet for each lot for the frontage, but now we need more relief. So we're trying to minimize the amount of relief that's required for both lots, and just ask for the board to consider that as they're making their decision and thinking about how you want to proceed. The other thing is that the variance granted is only good through. We still need to go through an A&R process through planning board, if I am correct. So once the variance is granted, we would need to do an A&R plan to separate those lots permanently. So say Vincent decides that he's not going to move in, and until that A&R plan is done, and that would be at the discretion of the domesticos for getting that A&R plan done, recorded at the registry of deeds, and making that a legal lot with the variance relief, that it wouldn't be official until that time. So we still need to go through the planning board process as well. So even though the variance may or may not be granted, if it was granted, they still have to go through that A&R process before it becomes an actual law. So, and again, it's all in full ownership of Edward and Suzanne, domestic at this point. So they're the only ones that can officially go ahead with the A&R plan and create those 2 lots. Thank you.
That brings up a question of mine, and maybe Jim, you can answer this. Let's say they do not go to the planning board for an A&R. The domesticos decide 5 years from now they're going to sell the property. This would just be a mute decision, correct?
Right, so you have to act on a variance within, I believe it's 2 years. So they would need to move forward with this at some point.
All right, within 2 years. Okay.
Jim, within 2 years, you'd have to build upon it to make the variance stick. Is that what you're saying?
You have to act on your relief granted. It's not, if you can't let it sit there for an endless amount of time. I believe it's under Mass General Law, I believe it's 2 years. It might be 3. I can check that for you guys, but I believe it 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
To the extent you guys don't know, maybe I'll do, but A&R is approval not required, so it's a formality, it's a formal process. So please approve this, although it's not really required, that kind of consideration.
I'm still a little fuzzy on the financial. Other than that, I think it's, there aren't any gray areas, but on the financial, I'm still a little fuzzy since the property has been owned since 1977.
We really can't consider the hardship of the son is because he may or may not move in there.
Right.
It's the hardship of the current owners.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the hardship comes. Anyone else before you open up to the public? Anyone in the public got any questions or comments? Sir, say your name and address.
This is an okay spot up here?
Yep.
All right. My name is Sam Cowell. My address is 489 Hartford Avenue. I'm a direct abutter to the Domesticos property. If you're looking at the map and you look at the back of their lot where it says Cowell, that would be my wife and me. We've lived there since 2010. I came here to speak in my support of the Domestico family for moving forward with this as an abutter for a variety of reasons. I think that it is not a detriment to our neighborhood. I think it's in fact an improvement to add another great neighbor to our neighborhood. It's part of a family who's been there since the early 1970s. I'm going to just tell you quickly personally, I was born and brought home to this property right here. My folks still live at 485 Hartford Avenue. And I'll tell you real quickly in a moment just about the same process that we went through 12 years ago to be able to accomplish the same thing. But I've lived there almost my whole life. And although I don't know the Domesticos very well on a personal level, what I can say on behalf of myself and my entire family is that they've been fantastic neighbors and members of the neighborhood for the last 4 decades plus. And I think that this is a very reasonable thing for the town to consider, to allow them to be able to share their property and invite their son on board to build a new home for his family to be close to his parents. I'd also like to echo something that was said by the council here, that if you compare to the other lots that are in the neighborhood, both of these lots would be substantially larger than many of the lots that exist in Caryville in that area of Pearl Street and Hartford Avenue. So it's hard to imagine how this incurs any type of detriment on the neighborhood at all. But I would like to just share with you that my family and I went through this exact same process back in 2009. The Domesticos bought their property in 1973. My parents bought their property at 485 Hartford Avenue in 1975 and raised their family there. And in 2009, my wife and I were given the opportunity to do the exact same thing, to be gifted a parcel of land from our parents to build on in our hometown of Bellingham. And we appeared before the planning board and we appeared before this very board. And I know that at least one member of the current board was there in 2009 when we appeared, if not more than that. And we had a slightly different set of circumstances. We were looking to do a backlot subdivision and we're seeking variance for frontage. Incidentally, 60 feet of frontage here. We were looking for only 50 feet. I would invite anybody who has any type of questions about whether or not something like this fits into the neighborhood to drive by 485 and 49 Hartford Avenue and take a look and see if you think that it looks good in the neighborhood, because I think that anybody would agree that it fits in perfectly. And we were able to make it work very well with 50 feet of frontage and a driveway leading back to our back lot property. But we stood before this board and we made our appeals to seek the variances. And at the time when public comment was opened up, when Jerry Mayhew was still with us in this community, he stood here as just a member of the public. And he appealed to the members of the planning board and the ZBA to look at this as an opportunity for the town, to allow a family to do something that was sensible, reasonable, good for the family, good for a family, in my case, who had been here for many decades, which is the same case for the Domesticos, and to allow them to move forward with a plan that would help everybody and takes nothing away from the town. And fast forward now, and thank you, by the way, to Jerry Mayhew for doing that, because I think that really helped for us to be able to move forward with this as a family. But I fast forward now 12 years, and we've been at that property the entire time, living next to my parents who are still in the original house, where they've been able to help us to raise our children, watching them in the morning, putting them on the bus, getting them off of school bus in the afternoon. We've been able to help them, and as they advance into their later years, we're there for them. And I hope that there's a possibility to make this happen, to offer the same opportunity for the Domesticos, who again are excellent people and have been terrific neighbors and members of the community all these years. And as abutters to the property, who, by the way, we stand to see a substantial change in the look of our property if this goes through, but we support it 100% because I think it's the right thing to do for this family. And I think that it adds to the community and does something that is a reasonable variance from law, right, from bylaw, to allow someone to do something that's going to fit in well to the community and will help this family. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Anybody?
hi, this is Gary Bastarak, 11 Pearl Street. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yep, I live across the street from Ed and Suzanne. Been there since 1992, and I'm in full support also of the house for their son or in that neighborhood. So I just wanted to just say that little piece, but I known them since then and been great neighbors and great friends. So thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Anybody else? How does the board feel about, do we want to close it? We want to allow them to continue it until we have a full board? What are the thoughts?
Well, I guess that's up to them if they want to do it. They think it's strategically better to wait for next month. That's up to them, but
If we do that, do we have to leave it open or can we close the hearing?
Just continue.
Just continue it.
We would have to continue it because, yes, because Ray would be present the next time.
although we missed this hearing.
But he missed this hearing. So
Yeah.
Jim, how would we handle that?
Probably the same way as when I've missed them. They do it on tape.
Yeah, he would have to read in, and he should be fine for this one.
Super.
But yeah, it's ultimately, I think Brian's right. It's ultimately up to the applicant if you would like to proceed or if you would like to request a continuation in one meeting.
Oh, we just make a motion, take a vote.
May I
Go right ahead, sir.
just want to add one other.
No, go right ahead.
So we're here, we were here in April on option 1.
Yep.
This is option 2. The third option, which which the Domesticos do not want to pursue, is to build a duplex effectively. And
They've got a beautiful home there. I would hate to.
this is okay.
Yeah,
So
personally,
I'm glad to hear.
as a resident, they've got an absolutely beautiful home there. I would hate to see it.
Ben, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that's where we're left.
Okay.
Mr. Cowell, and thank you very much for turning out tonight. A good neighbor again, with Little Fenway, by the way. It's been there for 40 years at the back of our property. Fenway Park with left field wall, or winter wall. But at any rate, that is the stark reality of where we're left. The hardship extends not just to us or the neighborhood, but to the town. That big, beautiful house will go. My son has offered to come back to us. He's contemplating marriage with a younger, wonderful young woman. My wife absolutely regales in the grandchildren we have. He needs a house. I want my family together. And the duplex is a given. So that's all we're doing is preventing two families from living next to each other by denying the ability for them to live separately rather than conjoined. So the same amount of bedrooms would be there. The house that would go up would be far less than what is there now. But for me to graft onto what is there, the expense would be too great.
I'll be very honest with you. I made a point to drive by your home because last time you were here, you were talking about the home and I
I
wanted to see it
did,
myself.
and invited, if the board had wanted to, we would have given you the grand tour.
It's a beautiful home. I would personally hate to see it taken down.
And we're not doing that to be mean-spirited. We're doing it again with the idea that two families can exist on that 86,000 square feet. We ask only for the dispensation so that we can exist side by side rather than conjoined. And feel it reasonable as do our neighbors, who two of them have spoken tonight. I think, Amanda, thank you for your words. Ben, of course, our attorney. And we realize it's a little bit outside of the box, but as I had mentioned at our last meeting, I think that's one of the discretionary measures that you folks can invoke. I've heard no negative feedback towards our proposed project from any of the neighbors. In fact, I think that, I can't see, but I think there may be a couple more on also listening or trying to get on. Who again have spoken very favorably of it. So we would ask for your dispensation. We are going to push for the vote tonight because life does go on. I do age, my wife ages, my son ages, you all age. So to continue it to another day does nothing but to stretch that for us where we have a clear path forward. We ask only for the dispensation for the path that Gary and Calvin, Ben, and hopefully you folks do, because you did encourage us last time that you wanted to work with us, but that the pork chop lot was just too much to ask for. We understood that also. That was a huge amount of square footage that was being asked to be taken away from the normal regulation. We don't think this is. Again, to paraphrase most of the folks here, this lot is far greater than most of the lots in North Bellingham. So we leave it with you, unless you want to add something, Ben.
Thank you, sir.
Very briefly, just so that there's not so much of a focus on our family, but rather on the lot itself. Because as my father said, this can support a multifamily. Any owner who looked to achieve that would face the same situation of either needing to create some type of monstrosity grafted onto the Victorian house, or in order to make use of most of the land, which currently is inaccessible, would have to knock down the house to create a multifamily. So that's a hardship that persists regardless of who the owner is.
And to answer one of the board's questions, I won't mention it. The land would go to my son. That can't get locked in, I don't believe, any more than Stop and Shop proposing something that they then sell to another developer after approval. But the intent is for my son to be able to build his house next to ours.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's why we're so emotional about it.
That's why I suppose we'll, motion to close the hearing then.
So,
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Discussion on the board?
so, I do think that I don't believe that they meet the criteria, but this might be a time where we exercise discretion to create what would be two semi-rectangular lots, which doesn't have any real detriment. But I would do that with a condition. And Jim, if you could help me with this, we can condition the granting of a variance like a special permit, right?
Yes, to a degree.
So to the extent that we, so my concern is that we create lots on paper that that look like what we have in the plan, but then in practice, what becomes is in effect, what would be a pork chop shaped lot where there's access won't be going through lot one, but will be going through through the driveway, the existing driveway in lot two. And years from now, say that fence remains and
Becomes pork shaped.
and then over time, through adverse possession and other considerations, that becomes a lot, a pork chop lot. And this is sort of being paranoid about the future. Is there a way to condition the granting of the variance for that access to lot one is through lot one, not through an easement through lot two, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. You can condition the variance that each lot shall be, primary access shall be off of Pearl Street and shall be accessed separately and not a combined driveway or something to that effect.
That would be my only concern, that we don't by practice create a pork chop shape.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Jason? Got enough?
No.
Off quiet tonight,
Right?
Arthur?
Going from what they all said, thank you for everybody. The lot is under for the frontage and it is a pork chop lot, but it is greater than the size of all the neighboring lots or most of the neighboring lots. And so in character, I think that it does more than fit into the neighborhood. So, and I agree with Brian that the access should be from Pearl Street, from frontage of that lot. Motion to close the hearing?
You already did that.
I already did it.
Okay, that's right, it's all
We're in
done.
discussion.
We're still in
So
discussion.
at this point, I guess looking for a motion to
Call vote.
call.
So, I'll move to approve the variance with the conditions that we articulate. Do you need anything further than that, Jim? Or is that?
No, I understand a condition for separate distinct access off of Pearl Street. I can certainly wordsmith that. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we got a motion, or a second.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye,
Aye. It's moved. It passes.
great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Very much.
Congrats.
Sam, thank you.
So what will happen now is Jim will draft the decision, get it to me, I'll file it with the town clerk, and we'll probably appeal on that. Okay?
Thank you.
Super.
Good
luck,
Have a
guys.
great night.
Thank you all. Brian, you did recuse yourself.
Yeah,
We do know each other.
yeah.
I don't want to taint any of the process here. I have worked with Brian's wife, who is also an architect. I don't know if you folks know.
Have a great night.
So if the vote is in, we're merely waiting for Jim to attach the rider, which is access from Pearl Street onto the second one, which would have happened earlier. We will be approaching the design. Thank you. But that, we never spoke before. Before, I couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah.
What's that?
A little break.
Thank you again very much.
Have a great,
Thank you.
great night. Take care.
Okay.
Okay. We have minutes, and the minutes look
All right,
great.
minutes.
Laura did a super job. If you have any revisions or anything, let me know. Laura did an awesome job.
Anyone want time to review the minutes then? or is
I
that
have
all?
done so.
I have done so as well.
Brian? It's good. Yep.
I read this and I said, oh, that's, I gotta remember that it was a. Then I don't
Don't you have a highlighter at home in your office? Those yellow and pink things.
Got a little felt tip on it.
You know what you can do, Brian, in the future, if you have something that comes to mind when you look at them, whenever it comes, send me a quick email and I can make sure I can address that for you.
We'll post
That
some
works.
notes.
I guess that maybe I'm thinking of something.
Well, let me make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to close.
Moved.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Aye.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Jim, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.